Welcome to Lake TV's High School Football Coaches Show Special. We're calling this Shore Family Memories because, of course, for the first time in about a half century, we don't have a member of the Shore family as head coach of the Camdenton Lakers. So we thought it might be fun to bring in the Shore family and get some memories from over the years. And Coach Jeff Shore, thank you so much for allowing us to do this.
Well, the amazing part is getting them all here on time, actually, together. That's a real struggle in our family. So we passed the first test there, so I appreciate you having us.
Yes, because Sophie's coming in from Arizona. I think Bo's coming in from Georgia or something like that, right? So, all right, so we know that you couldn't get to where you are. You couldn't have the success without this family behind you and the love from the family. So would you introduce us to your family here?
Yeah, so first, my lovely wife, Stacy. We've been married 27 years.
Good job, you got that right.
Yeah, I did. And so Stacy in her own right was an amazing athlete. She was an All-American basketball player, actually hit the shot to win the state championship at the buzzer.
Wow.
In high school. So that's a pretty awesome deal. So I got lucky there. She's a sports gal anyway, so she understands it. So and she's obviously given me three wonderful children. You guys know Bear Shore. He was played quarterback for us this year, and he's just a great kid. On top of that, a really good student. My daughter Sophie Shore, who's does a lot of different things. We're not sure quite what she does. She makes good money doing it and goes all different places, but she works in the political realm. She's the chief of staff for a lady named Jill Carter, and she also does a lot of other things. Super proud of her. She graduated second in her class, salutatorian, so she got her mom's brains.
Yeah, that helps.
And there's Bo Shore, who he also played football at Camdenton, was an all-conference player, really good football player, is pursuing an acting career. Is doing a very good job of that. He also works in front of the camera and behind the camera. So he's got a little movie trailer they've made coming out called At Niagara's In, which is kind of cool. So
At Niagara's In.
Obviously proud of all three of my kids and my wife. It's been a great run for us, and this whole thing.
So did anybody try to talk him out of retiring? Did you try to talk him out of it?
No.
No, it was time.
Yeah.
How about you guys? You happy dads retiring from coaching football, or you wish you would continue on?
They always look to me to talk out the person. So I'm like the spokesperson of the siblings. I think, there's a joke, my brother didn't talk until his second grade year because I did all the talking for him. And that's continued on. So, I think as a family, it's been so fun. We're all three very, family focused, just getting to come back in the fall on Friday nights. And it seems like I've been fighting to do that my whole life. But I think as a family, we're kind of ready to step into a different season. And Dad's like, oh, we can go to the Lobster Festival in Maine now in August, and so there are just opportunities now that there weren't before, but so beyond grateful for everything that we've gotten to experience here.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of great memories. I'm guessing being married to, you mentioned how good Stacy was as an athlete in her own right. Being married to a sports person probably enabled you to do a lot of things that you might not have been able to do if she wasn't a sports person.
Oh, 100%. She understands she's very competitive, number one.
Yeah.
And so, my kids get a lot of their competitiveness from her. So, just her understanding the time, the effort, and the energy it puts in, and then always being there, supporting and we've put thousands of miles on our car. Stacy and I have, taken Sophie to play basketball, Bo different places to play flag football, and obviously Bear the same thing. So, and her willingness to do that and want to do that. She helped coach. We refereed together when Sophie was a little baby. We actually, to make ends meet, Stace would carry her on her hip, and we would referee youth basketball. Now I would have to do all the running back and forth. She would stay at half court, but I figured
I blew my whistle more.
Yeah, she blew her whistle more. So, her and I mean, it's been a real team effort, And I got to add this: we have a real faith in God, and it's very important to us. And our kids have been raised that way, and we're really proud of their faith as well. So all those kind of things together have made it easy to do what we do.
Right. Did you know what you were getting into when you guys met back in the early days? Did you know you were marrying a coach?
No, I knew what I was signing up for. Yeah. So I had been a a big Jeff Shore fan when I was in high school, because back then you didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
You just read the newspaper on Saturday morning. So my dad was a Laker football fan from where I lived in Marshfield. I grew up in Marshfield. And so, I knew all about the Shore family and the football legacy that had even been back then. So when I signed up to marry him, I knew exactly what I was signing up for.
Yeah.
And I took my kids. I've rarely missed any games.
We haven't.
When
She's
they were
been at
little,
everything. Yeah.
I felt like it was really important that they knew what their dad was doing.
Yeah.
So even when they were tiny, we'd bundle them up and I'd put them in the car and we would go. So, my mother-in-law has been the same. She's rarely ever missed any one of Bob's games or Jeff's games coaching. And so, it's just kind of a family thing that we've supported their dad. And we didn't hardly ever miss any game.
No,
ever.
and that is honestly a huge part of just, we're always trying to be where our family, even in college, I try to come back every Friday night and I stay close to home to be able to come home because you knew my mom was going to be there. My dad and grandpa were obviously going to be there.
Yeah.
My brothers were playing. They were going to be there. My grandma was going to be at the 50. My grandmother, she'd be mad if I called her grandma. Sorry, grandmother, I know you'll see this. Forgive me for that. So, but yeah, my grandmother will be on the 50-yard line every time. And so my aunt and, our cousins played, Uncle Travis and all of their kids. So anyway, it was a huge part of our family life. And that's where everybody was on Friday nights.
Yeah. Well, talking about the early years and you guys growing up, what's your first memory of dad as coach down there on the sideline, and everybody it's a big deal, right? So do you remember, Bo, the first time that comes to your mind, or you playing down on the field or something like that?
I always remember, there's the main game that's going on, and then there's a little side game of the little 6-year-olds, you had to be 6 to 12.
The end zone game, yeah.
So that was a great experience.
Right. Were you the quarterback, or what were you playing in those games?
No, I was. There's this game, I can't really say the name of it, but it's Smear the Blank.
Yeah, I'll
let you guess that. Yeah. So I remember always somebody had the ball, whoever just tackled them first.
Right. Yeah.
And then next person, go at them,
Yeah.
So.
I chipped a tooth playing that game. So, how about you? Your first earliest memory?
It's hard for me to remember exactly when he started being head coach, but I remember the years by a lot of great players. I remember Murphy Ward comes to mind, Colin Carlock, all those guys are guys I remember from when I was a kid. But my most vivid memories are from 2018 when we installed the new offense and watching Paxton and all those guys play and knowing maybe one day I would be there running the same thing. So those are my most vivid memories and just seeing how awesome that was. So.
Right. Boy, Paxton, he was a great quarterback, wasn't he? Kind of reminds me a lot of you. All right, so this is a high school football coaches special. It is Shore Family Memories as Coach Jeff Shore retires from the Camdenton Lakers. So we're getting to know the whole family here. This is brought to you by our great friends at COMC, Polylift Boat Lift, and Rough Water Dock. We'll be back with the more Shore Family Memories right after this. At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center is growing in our community with a new dental location to serve you in Eldon and a new location in Loring. COMC also makes your children a priority with a mobile dental unit serving schools in rural areas where access can be a challenge. COMC also offers OBGYN, sports medicine, pediatric, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission.
Polylift Boat Lifts. Boaters everywhere have relied on Polylift Boat Lifts to raise their boat up and out of the water time and time again. Polylift Boat Lifts are made of the finest materials and offer a lifetime warranty on the tanks. Stop by Polylift and see the huge selection of wet steps, water toys, and dock accessories. You can even shop online at polylift.com. Polylift Boat Lifts. You know what they say.
We got time to build boat lifts. We build Polylifts.
If it's happening at the lake, it's happening on Lake TV. From the Polar Plunge to festivals, parades, Aquapalooza, and boat shows, Lake TV has it all. Even the granddaddy of them all, the shootouts. If you're looking for places to party, things to do, or even a new home to move into, you've got to love Lake TV. And welcome back to Lake TV's High School Football Coaches Show special Shore Family Memories as Jeff Shore retires as Camdenton football head coach. Nearly 50 years between you and your dad of Camdenton football, right? So the memories go back a long way for you too, right?
You talk about, that's been a long time, you know. That's Stacey and I were talking about it actually yesterday. We were talking about how, you know, so many of my memories don't even, like, people aren't even alive now that, you know, were part of those, or people that have moved here or weren't even born during those times, you know. So it's been a long time for me. One of my favorites, though, probably for me on a personal level, if you're talking about, you know, my family, is in '05 we played at home in a semifinal game, and we were down and we ran what's called a swinging gate. And you were there, remember this, hit Daniel Edson hit for a shotgun, kind of a miracle touchdown. They're in the semifinal to go on the state championship. And someone snapped a picture of Forrest scoring that touchdown. It was at the right corner of the end zone. And in that picture is Sophie, like, arms up, you know, I mean, just like in glorious celebration of, and you were what, maybe 5, 6 years old then, you know, like that. And then right next to her is Bo. He's played in the sandbox on the long jump pit, you know.
Yeah.
And then my sister-in-law, my in-laws are in the picture. It's just all my family's in the picture. Our neighbor Cheryl.
Yeah.
You know, that snapshot of that score, and then of all things, you know, a majority of my family, you know, relatives, the Ozarks crew, the Nun crew, which my wife's mom and dad, and everybody's in that picture, you know. And just, I think what sticks out to me is just my daughter just sitting there just in glorious celebration of 5, understanding what it meant. So that's one of my best probably memories, and actually captured on a photograph.
Yeah.
Starting to make me tear up there just talking about that. That's a great memory. How about you, Stacey?
Well, I will say Bo, when we had Bo, so I had Sophie and Bo during peak football, right? So
Right.
Sophie, we had a pager, and we played Waynesville, and we actually lost. But I could not go. It was one of the few games I'd missed, but I was fully 9 months pregnant with Sophie, so he had a pager in case my water broke, and my water did break the next day, not that Friday night, so you did good. But then Bo, they talked about Jeff and my OBGYN, they decided that they would induce my labor on a Tuesday because he had a Monday night game.
Monday night JV game.
And that should get me home by Thursday so he could be home in time for his Friday night game. And it worked out great. So I had him in '99, and we went on. Did we play for the state championship?
Yeah, we did win the state championship. Yeah.
So I left him at home and my infant, and went and took Sophie, and we went to the state championship in 1999. So, you know, those are all memories that revolve around from the time they were born.
Yeah,
You know, they were.
How old was Sophie during that time?
Well, Sophie was 2.
So the only way to really appease her is we had a highlight film of the '99 state championship game.
Right.
And it was set to music, and she would watch that over and over and over. She was a terrible infant, by the way. A great gal, but I mean, hard to handle, right?
Yeah.
So I remember in the basement of her old house, and she would just want to play that over and over.
Wow.
And over
I have
again. That would keep her
memories,
entertained.
of him watching in the basement the highlight films, or just working on the highlight films, and he'd ask me to bring him a soda pop.
Yeah.
And like, I have memories of just constantly going down there, and you know, that was he would give me tasks to do while he was doing that. But from the very beginning, that was a huge part.
Nice. A game that sticks out from over the years for you guys, and you guys kind of have another added memory in the locker room with your dad, right? Is there any moments from over the years that stick out of you and your dad in the locker room or behind the scenes or something? Maybe he's yelling at you or patting you on the back or something like that?
Well, actually, like, I can just remember when I was younger, like after a home game, you know, it's cold, I'm ready to go home, but my dad's still in there talking to all the coaches and kind of talking about the game, and like, you know, it's been fun, but I'm kind of ready to go. But it's like, now looking back on that, it's just like because my experience from that standpoint has been different than others. So just kind of those memories of like me being younger and just like waiting on him, and I feel like he has the same experience with his dad. So
the exact same experience, starving to death, and all I hear is 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, and they go. Yeah, Brad Hunter and I waiting. Brad, if he sees this, will know exactly what I'm talking about. So it was the same. I mean, I remember, you know, talking about these guys. For me, you know, our personal level. For some reason with Bo, it's a play he made in the Waynesville game. He was a relentless player, and they ran a jet sweep, and he goes 100 miles an hour, dives at the guy and misses him, and we kind of get him pinned in, and Bo's back on his feet and tackles him for a 6-yard loss for him to get back up, and that kind of typified the way he played, you know. And then for Bear, you know, I mean, we had so many, you know, it's hard to pick one, but. Yeah. You know, these great comeback wins. I think our first Lebanon game was one of my fondest memories, you know, and great comeback by against Kickapoo. And then for Sophie, believe it or not, we put together an unbelievable flag football team when she was in fourth grade that beat all the boys, you know, and so I had to kind of disband that because it was kind of ruining, you know, the mojo for our guys. Yeah.
He had to shut that down.
Shut that down. I've always said Sophie would have been a tremendous football player. And in her own right, she was a great basketball player, scored 1,000 points in her career here, one of the few people that have done that in basketball. So all those kind of things are great. But I'll say this, I know I'm talking a lot, but there's a lot to talk about, you know, for me, is I think one of my fondest times was in 2005 after we won that game in the semifinal. You know, I went to eat at City Grill. And I just remember sitting there, and we hadn't been on vacation in 10 years, and tasting a crab cake and think that tastes like something different, you know, and just all those great feelings of knowing you're going to the state championship game, and no matter what, it's been a great year, and we kind of planned a vacation there at that time. You remember that? So,
yeah, I do.
I mean, all those kind of things, you know, not necessarily about football, but just all the great feelings that come from, you know, some of the success we've had.
Absolutely. How about you, Bo? On-field memory or a locker room memory with your dad?
I mean, there's so many, you know. I'll just say something just pretty broad, but I've been, you know, we are all very blessed to have my, you know, father and my grandfather be our coaches, you know, all of us. And that's all we've really known. And there are some misconceptions, I would say. Like, some people are like, man, you must have it easy, you know, like you must be must get away with so much, you know. But the reality of it is it's actually the hardest thing ever because, you know, that's your family. They know your fullest potential and what you're capable of, and they expect nothing less. And, you know, something that with my father and grandfather as well is them being our coaches, they simplify things really easily. So the fact is, like, my you know, Papa Bob always says this, and you always say this, like, I'm not going to force you to do something you can't do.
Right.
And I just take that philosophy with me everywhere I go, essentially. So
I can't. What? Say that again.
I'm not going to force you to do something that you cannot do.
Right.
So.
And what does that mean to you? What does that
I'm
mean?
asked to try, actually. So that's what,
well, like,
that's what it means. Yeah.
Like if you can't, you know, I'm not going to tell you to high jump 7 foot. You can't. You know, we're going to tell you to get this gap and stay in the gap. We're going to give you an assignment that you can do. You know, I'm not going to ask you to do something you can't do as you're playing. So, you know, if you run a 6 flat 40, you know, 40, and the guy runs a 4.4, I'm not going to ask you to guard him man to man.
You're not going to beat him, right?
I'm going to try to put you in a better spot to win. So that's kind of what he's talking about. That's neat that he took that with him.
It's kind of a fascinating life philosophy that you picked up from Coach Dad, right? Yeah. So did you guys all get that too?
Yeah, I would say like a lot of different things, right? Like I'm the crier of the family. We talked about this before we started. Like, you know, I see a movie, Marley and Me, and I'm like weeping. Like, and I actually get that from my dad, believe it or not. Like, so just if I do. But, you know, there used to be, like, it's not the size of this is like a common saying, but it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the fight in the dog. Right. Like, with people, with the players, because, you know, at the lake, like, there aren't a lot of people that move in here to play football. Right? They do, but whereas at Springfield, you have all these different schools you can choose from, or even Webb City, you have Joplin, right? And a lot of people move there. Mm-hmm. And so a huge part of the mentality, I think, for the Camdenton Lakers throughout the years has just been, you know, it's a lot about the heart and the person, and just very people focused. And I mean, like, build your house on a rock. Everything my dad and mom have said, it's just constantly you hear I think we hear their voices in our head all the time. Yeah. But I think heart and just the mentality of you can do anything. It's about what's inside of you. Is the biggest thing that I've taken from Camdenton football from my dad and my Papa Bob as a whole. So
Yeah, and that's pretty special to hear because that's not even common in our society today, unfortunately. Okay, so this is the Lake TV High School Football Coaches Show special Shore Family Memories. We're getting some great ones here as Coach Jeff Shore retires. We'll be back with more with the Shore family right after this.
Purchasing a boat is a pretty big investment, and when you purchase a Rough Water dock, you're protecting that investment for years to come. Rough Water Dock has been your trusted dock builder at the lake for over 30 years, specializing in custom docks that are built to withstand the rough waters of the Lake of the Ozarks. Rough Water is a full-service dock builder offering commercial construction, dock additions, swim docks. They're Amarin certified and fully insured. Rough Water Dock, the peace of mind you want and the protection you need.
At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center is growing in our community with a new dental location to serve you in Eldon and a new location in Loring. COMC also makes your children a priority with a mobile dental unit serving schools in rural areas where access can be a challenge. COMC also offers OBGYN, sports medicine, pediatric, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission. Welcome back to Lake TV's High School Football Coaches Show special Shore Family Memories. Getting some great memories with the Shore family as Jeff Shore retires. Nearly 50 years of a Shore leading the football program. Your family reminds me a lot. I used to get to do some work with Coach Landry and the Cowboys. And a lot of his players, when I talk to them, they say the very first practice that we would go into, Coach Landry wrote on the board, this is the order of importance: God, family, football, those three things. And the way you guys operate kind of reminds me a lot of that. Do you see a similarity in that, Stacey?
Absolutely. I think that, like I said, if there are young coaches that are watching this that can take something away from my coach, is that he's led our family well. I mean, he's not just a coach on the field, but he's coached, like I look at my kids. And so he's led, but God first, always. Like the most important thing is to instill the faith of Jesus Christ in our children and to make that the rock. He always talks about the rock that we build our house on, and that is our foundation. But then family, because a lot of people have that out of order. It's football, then family, not for him.
Right.
And so I think that time, to get the most out of every practice, but what's always touched me, including with my own children, is that when you have after school, there are 20 kids running around that are all the coach's kids. That's never bothered him. He invites that. And so for the kids to actually be invested of the coaches in the program, that's been his mantra. Like to see, like in the last couple of home games, I just stood and took it all in. Like all the little kids now that run around and they're throwing footballs, they're not watching the game, just like Bo and Bear and Sophie have all done. And those are the hallmarks of the program. Is it's so much more than football. Mm-hmm. It is a foundation that he and his coaching staff have taught young men to build their foundation on. And that's God, family first. And then whatever it is, football only lasts for a minute. But whatever it is, now it's football, but whatever comes next. And so I'm just really proud of him that that has been the hallmark of who he and his dad both are. And I mean, you never felt like you played second to football ever. Dad always gave time. There was always time.
So did you guys ever feel second to football in the family?
I never did. I just want to say like something else. Like we always keep it in perspective. I mean, you can get so caught up in like all the pressure and what happens if we lose this game. But at the end of the day, like I know my dad's gonna love me, my mom's gonna love me. The sun's gonna come up. He always says, "Mom's never gonna love me." I guess.
Not that matters.
But just always keeping it in perspective and knowing like life is bigger than football, and you can learn a lot of great things from football, but don't let it consume you.
That's right.
And always have a vision after football, and so I think that's just kind of
priorities.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
At the end of every year, he would always, he says that all the time to all of the seniors. He's like, be good men, love your wives, love your kids. And he did. My dad was the same person all the time. And I'm so grateful for that because so many people didn't have that. But we never, I'm we never felt like we played second fiddle to anybody or anything. And so I think that's huge, and that's really what's going to make the world better. And yeah, just on the family level. So
Yeah. What do you think, Bo?
Yeah, she couldn't have said it better. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm speechless on that. But yeah, I just, you know, I think what football has taught me, it's just the life lessons from it, and the experience of what it means to be a Camdenton Laker, you know, just something that the community could rally behind, and just, again, the life lessons that, you know, like, hey, like, this football is not your life, you know, it comes second. Like, just look at everything else in perspective.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things too, after every game, win or lose, as hard as it may be to say if we ever lost, but the breakdown was who's got it better than us. And if you've ever stood and heard him, all of his football players yell on synchronicity, nobody. And that's how he lives.
And that's something we use in our family too. And I think we've been so lucky. We love this community. We love Camdenton. This is the best place on earth.
Yeah.
And this idea that there's no better place to be than where you are, and there are no better people to be with than the people that you're with.
That's right.
It's just really important to us. So
Yeah. Looking forward to life after football?
Oh, yeah. It's been great up to this point. You know, like I said, I had nothing but love in my heart for, you know, the Camdenton community, Camdenton Lakers, everything that, and let me say this, we've got to be a part of it. We haven't been it. You know, I mean, this is kind of self-indulgent here. This is neat for our family to get to talk about this, but we've got to be a part of this.
So
you know,
much bigger.
So much bigger. And I got to mention my mom too. You know, I mean, she is one of the truest fans there is. You know, the lady that, you know, at an 8th grade basketball game, I look up, she's got her shoe off, getting ready to throw it at the referee. She's so competitive. So people don't know that. She's very, very quiet, but she's been a great lady. And my sister, Jenny, who has been behind the scenes, you know, and been a big fan too. So, you know, they probably don't get as much recognition as they should too, but it's just been a neat thing that we've all got to be a part of. Yes, am I looking forward to it? Yeah, there's going to be some great things that I get to do. I mean, nothing beats running out on Friday night, you know, but boy, there's going to be some great things I'm going to get to do because I'm not doing that anymore. That involve my family, chasing my kids around, hanging out with my wife. Can't wait to spend more time with her, and just it's just very much looking forward to it, and very grateful for what I've got to do up to this point.
Yeah. Thank you guys all for coming in and doing this.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Well, there you go. The high school football coaches show special, retirement special for Jeff Shore, Shore Family Memories, and you will be missed, so thank you. Thank you for joining us here on Lake TV. This has been brought to you by our great friends at COMC, Polylift Boat Lift, and Rough Water Dock.